Why, hello everyone. Greetings, good day. So, Heart of Deimos is, about to come. It's about to show up. It's here soon. See there? You can already see it. They've moved the derelict. This is just a placeholder image, but they've already moved the derelict from where it's supposed to be over here. So far only on PC. Only on PC. PC is getting some of these updates before console, but the actual Heart of Deimos update will release at the same time for all platforms. But what they've also done, and this is pretty huge, they've already told us what abilities can be subsumed from each Warframe and put into the Helminth. And hey, check this out. We can already access the new Helminth room. Again, only on PC. So to get in there, you have to either have a Nidus or a Warframe that has a Helminth cyst. Ah, look at that. New Helminth room. Can't do anything in this room yet. Oh, look at the boy. Oh, he's such a hungry boy. Oh, he's a big hungry boy. Oh, He feed me, Seymour, he seemed to say. And we will feed him. And now we know with what, because they've told us which abilities can be subsumed by different Warframes, and for that reason I thought I should make a list. And just telling you people what should be your number one priorities. Like, obvious disclaimer here is like this is my personal subjective opinion, and there might be people who disagree with one or two of my picks, and that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to take it as gospel. But I think it's pretty straightforward. Because there were some surprises. Like, people have already put out some lists before this based on like speculation of what we thought were the different abilities that we were gonna get. But no, there are some huge surprises in here, and some abilities that we did not expect were gonna be up for grabs. So without further ado, let's jump into this top 10 list, starting with pick number 10. So in the number 10 spot, I have Nezha, or everyone's favorite little boy, who may be getting a Prime Warframe soon. We thought he would get one before Inaros, but I guess not. The reason why is because the ability that Nezha will be surrendering is Firewalker. And Firewalker, you can run and you can like do a blaze, a trail of flames to hurt enemies, but that's not it. The point is it's movement speed. It's just straight up plus 25% movement speed at its base. For everyone. Everyone gets a speed boosting ability, like you can just blaze through the map like Gauss or a Volt or a Nezha for that matter. And if you want to go crazy with it, you can even use Firewalker with a Volt or a Gauss to run even faster than before. So just for, some Warframes are slow, some Warframes don't have any like super good movement abilities, but now they do. Now everyone can get movement speed, and for that reason, Nezha is my number 10. Number 9 is my personal main, which is Equinox. Equinox has a skill set like I was pretty much 100% sure that this was gonna be the ability that Equinox was gonna give up, and it is. It is Rest and Rage. So Rest and Rage, it's an ability that has different effects depending on if you're in day form or night form. If you are in night form, you can sleep enemies. So you can just stun them, put them to sleep, so you can go and do finishers on them. People love to use a sleep build, for example, for focus farming, running Adaro on Sedna. So now you can do that build with pretty much any Warframe. You don't have to use Equinox if you want to do focus farming. And in day form, you can instead hit a target with just a timed thing where they take increased damage. They get increased damage vulnerability, which actually, as you get up to the really high levels and Steel Path and whatnot, it's kind of what lets Equinox still be up there in terms of just dealing damage and taking out high health targets. So this is going to be useful for a lot of Warframes. It's very versatile because you can go either with the rest or with the rage ability, and you're going to find a use for it in many in Arsenal. So how this works with Equinox is that depending on your... Here, I'll show you. It's when you set your emissive color. Depending on which emissive color you use, you start the map in either day form or night form, and that's also the form you'll be in when you use a revive, for example. So you won't be able to switch between day form and night form in missions. You have to have it set beforehand. Only Equinox can switch in mission. So you just have to sort of decide for yourself what you want your Warframe to do. If you want the sleep ability or the extra damage vulnerability to enemies. And just roll with that for the mission. But that's going to be good. That's going to be very good for a lot of frames. And, you know, Equinox is a bit of a grind, but go get her. It's going to be super worth it. And that's my number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have the aforementioned Nidus. And the reason for that is because they gave away Larva, which is crazy good. Larva is an ability that lets you group enemies together. You shoot out a pod, the pod shoots out tendrils that pulls in enemies, and you suck them up into a big ball. And then you can just empty your heck into them and whatever, and just kill 10 enemies or 20 enemies at the same time. This is pretty good because there are a lot of abilities, or like there's a lot of Warframes who don't really have a strong offensive skill set. They're more of a support Warframe, or they just go with movement speed or invisibility or whatever, and they don't really have a focused way of dealing damage, so instead they deal their damage with their weapons. So for a Warframe like that, having an ability that like this, that just lets you group big clumps of enemies together, is gonna let you increase your damage output by like 1,000,000-fold. So that's gonna be really good. That's going to be really good for a lot of Warframes. This is going to be useful. This is something you're going to want to put on a lot of Warframes that have space open for it in their skill set. So for that reason, Nidus is my number 8. Coming in at number 7 is Rhino. This is good for a lot of people because he's one of the earliest Warframes you can farm for. So it's unlike, for example, Nidus, who's like a big grind to get. Rhino is easy. Anyone can get a Rhino. You just go to Venus and take out the Jackal a bunch of times. And the reason why you want Rhino is because they went crazy. They went crazy and decided to give him Roar. Everyone thought he was going to get like Charge or something because they won't give him Stomp, and they obviously aren't going to make Iron Skin a universal ability. But no one assumed that they were just going to give Roar to everyone because it's so good. It's so good and it's so straightforward. You just do it, and for a certain duration, for a certain amount of time, you and everyone standing close to you when you activate the ability is just going to get increased damage. Just straight up, boom. Use the skill. Congratulations, you now do increased damage. Straight up. Yeah, this is gonna be really good. This is gonna be really good for a lot of Warframes. Now, here's an important notice that they said about how this is gonna work with what you can give to various Warframes. A Warframe is only allowed to have one damage increasing ability at a time. No more than that. So you won't be able to give this ability to a Warframe that already has a damage increasing ability. And that's pretty much the only reason why Rhino is not higher on the list, and the reason why I put him at number 7. Because that does, to an extent, it decreases the functionality of this. It decreases like how many Warframes you're going to be able to put this ability on. But for anyone who doesn't have a damage increasing ability, well, guess what? Now they do. And for that reason, Rhino is my number 7. Just outside of the top 5, I have put Hildryn as my number 6. And this one comes with a caveat that I'm not sure. I had a really hard time sort of judging where to put Hildryn on this list, probably more so than anyone else. I could be wrong, and Hildryn should actually be number 1 on the list. But we'll see. We'll see. I sort of have some doubts about it if it's going to be what people are going to be prioritizing, but I could be wrong about Hildryn. This is the one I'm the most unsure of out of everyone, if she should be higher or not. The reason for that is that the ability she's going to give away is Pillage. And this is a defense ability, and when you get to like the top 5 and the best Warframes to subsume, I'm pretty much focused on defensive abilities because that's what some Warframes like are really lacking and really need. So it's gonna change the meta the most, more so than like offensive abilities will. But Hildryn has Pillage. So what she does is simply she does a thing, and it drains the shields and armor of all nearby enemies, so, you know, they take more damage after you use the ability, and you use it to replenish your own shields and your own overshields, and it removes status effects from Hildryn. So that's like sort of probably not what people are primarily going to be using it for, but it does that too. Now what's important is that, like, with this, every single Warframe ability, every single Warframe in the game now has access to overshields, which is that you can increase your shields above the maximum that your Warframe is supposed to have. Which is fantastic, because it offers like additional protection. At least if other Warframe's overshields are going to work the same way that Hildryn's overshields will, which we don't know. Also important to note is that Hildryn works differently than other Warframes in that her abilities don't drain... they don't drain energy because she doesn't use energy, they drain her shields instead. But it's not going to work like that when other players get this ability. For other players, this is just going to be an energy drain. I think it's going to cost 50 energy or something. So it's going to work like any other Warframe ability. And this is going to be super strong, because this, together with how shield gating works, and certain mods, like Rolling Guard, for example, could sort of, maybe it can sort of set up a situation where you can make practically any Warframe like functionally immortal. Which is why Hildryn might actually be number 1. We'll see. It requires playtesting to see how it's going to work in practice or not. But for that reason, I only put her as number 6. But it's number 6 with an asterisk. She could very well be higher. But for now, that's my number 6. Coming in at number 5, and the first of the top 5, is Chroma. And that's, again, no one sort of expected this, because no one sort of expected that they were going to give away Elemental Ward. People thought it was going to be like Spectral Scream or something. But no, it's actually Elemental Ward that anyone can get now, which is kind of bonkers. So, for people who don't know how Chroma works, what his abilities will do is dependent on what your energy color is. So you can set it to be either heat, cold, electricity, or toxin. And depending on what you have set it to, this ability will do different things. If you set it to heat, you will like do more damage. If you set it to cold, you will get like an armor buff when you play it. So it's a super versatile ability that can sort of give you whatever this particular Warframe needs. So this is probably going to be pretty good for pretty much every Warframe. Like, if you can find a use for this ability with any Warframe. And it can give a lot more survivability to Warframes who aren't particularly tanky. So this is just going to be good. This is just going to be pretty good for pretty much everyone. And it's going to find a home in pretty much any Warframe that wants it. And for that reason, Chroma is my number 5. Right outside of the top 3, we have Saryn at number 4. Everyone already runs Saryn. You know what she can do. But the reason for this is because she got Molt. Molt is the ability that she will be giving away to the Helminth. And what this does, you shed your skin and you leave a clone behind, a decoy, which is just straight up better than Loki's decoy in every way. Loki's giving up decoy, but I'm not going to recommend you to get Loki, because Saryn has the better decoy that you're getting. So it leaves a decoy behind, The decoy draws fire from enemies. That's perfect. That's great. After you've cast it, you also get a speed multiplier. So you'll get to do the zoomies and run very fast for a little while after you've played it. And what's also really important about this particular ability is the augment. Because some Warframes have mods that can augment existing... that can augment existing abilities. For Saryn, it's regenerative molt, which is after you cast molt, you'll get health regeneration. 50 health per second for 10 seconds, so it just regenerates 500 health, which is an amazing healing buff. So if you, like... Again, if you have a Warframe that is sort of struggling with survivability, this is excellent. It's so good because it gives you so many different things at the same time. You leave a decoy behind that draws enemy fire, so you get to breathe for a while. You get a breather. You get to run fast, so you get to dash away from trouble and, you know, put yourself in a spot where you can sort of regenerate your shields and whatnot. And you also get a heal. So it's a fantastic survivability skill, and like, which Warframe wouldn't want this? Which Warframe doesn't want to have molt in their arsenal? Like, pretty much everyone. And that is why Saryn is in my number 4, which means it's time to dive into the top 3. In third place, it's Valkyr. And the reason for that is, like, you know why people play Valkyr? People play Valkyr because she has a lot of utility in, like, end game, sort of like long survival missions where eventually the only thing that's going to be viable after the enemies scale up in level enough is going to be melee weapons. You just do melee attacks. And for that reason, she has the Warcry ability, which is what she's giving away, which is super unexpected, and why she just shot up to the top of the list. Because Warcry is a buff, kind of like Rhino's Roar. It affects her and nearby allies. It increases attack speed. It increases armor. It increases movement speed. It decreases enemy movement speed. It's bonkers. It's just such a huge buff. It's an amazingly good buff. And again, I'm gonna see if I have this. I don't. How sad. I'll have to go up to the syndicates and find it. Again, it's because of her augment. Well, not because of it, but her augment definitely helps with this. Let's see. Who has the Valkyr?
Tainted and ruined beyond salvation.
Ah, perfect. Here, the augment for Warcry is Eternal War, which says while Warcry is active, the duration is increased by 2 seconds for each melee kill. Which means that as long as you just kill people with your melee weapon, you can keep this buff active forever. You don't need to replenish it, which is sick. Because, you know, enemies, they have their, you know, stuff that can drain energy from your pool, and then you can't recast it, and then you start off from 0 again. No, not with this. You can just Warcry forever. And hey, this is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, if you're not worried about survivability and just want to sort of increase your damage output to just make your Warframe viable for any sort of super late endgame sort of thing, then this is the one you want. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And that is why Valkyr is my number 3. In second place, we have so far the newest Warframe in the game, Protea. And when people looked at her abilities and saw, like, just, you know, we know it's not going to be Temporal Anchor, and it's most likely not going to be Blaze Artillery, which means it's either Grenade Fan or Dispensary, which are both fantastic. And it's Dispensary. That's the one we're getting, which is she can just shoot out a device that creates pickups. Just stands there for 25 seconds, you can increase that, and it just shoots out pickups, like health ammo, energy. Which is super good. You know why? Because there are a lot of Warframes out there who struggle with energy and maintaining energy. And you have all of these things you sort of like use as hacks. You use the generic focus school with your operator and use energizing dash, stuff like that. You use energy restores that just plop down left and right. Whatever. No need for any of that. Because now every single Warframe in the game can get an ability that will just generate energy for you. It's fantastic. It's super fantastic. This is like, might be the strongest single utility skill in the entire game. And now just everyone gets it. It's, holy shit, it's bonkers. God damn, you're gonna want this. Because this skill is gonna go on a lot of your Warframes. You're gonna find a home for this everywhere. And for that reason, Protea clocks in as my number 2, which means it's time to jump to the best and most important Warframe that you can subsume into the Helminth. There she is, the best Warframe in the game. No, but this is it. Nova. Nova is number 1 on the list, because this is probably the one that shocked people the most. It's Nullstar. Nullstar is the ability that Nova is going to give away, and like I said earlier, like when I made this list, sort of prioritizing what's more valuable than anything else, I said that I prioritize defensive skills over offensive skills, because pretty much everyone can get a good damage output if they just mod their weapons right, but just defensive skills can be hard to come by for a lot of Warframes. And they can sort of struggle with survivability. And these are just things you can't really overcome. And hey, guess what? Now you can. Because they just took a damage reduction ability and gave it to everyone. Everyone! Look at this. You create antimatter particles that orbit around Nova and they seek out nearby target. And they give damage reduction. They stack up to 90%. Crazy, right? 90% damage reduction now available to every single Warframe in the game. Now there is one huge caveat here, and that is to effectively get this 90% boost, you have to mod your Warframe for duration. And not every Warframe wants to have that sort of build. Not every Warframe wants to have a sort of maximum duration build. For example, if you're running like an Equinox Dayform build or whatever, you're gonna have pretty low duration. So you're gonna have to sort of mod your Warframe in a way that you don't really want to mod it. And sort of gimp some other abilities, but that's fine. That's fine. This is insane. This is absolutely crazy. Here, like, congratulations, there are no longer any Warframes in the game that struggle with survivability, because everyone has Nullstar now. Hot diggity damn. Like I said before, I am unsure of where to put Hildryn on the list with her pillage. She might be the big joker in all of this. She might be the one who should really be at number 1 and Nova should be at number 2. I don't know. It requires more testing before we can be sure of that. But just looking at it on paper and just taking everything at face value, this is the one. This is the single most important Warframe to subsume into the Helminth because of this ability that they're just gonna give to everyone, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What's also good is that Nova is pretty easy to farm. You just go and do the boss fight on Europa a couple of times and you get her. She's super easy to farm for. So it's not even gonna be hard for you to get her and put her into the Helminth. And that's it. That's my number 1. So there you have it. These are the 10 most important Warframes to put in there. The ones you should be focusing on, that are probably just gonna be the abilities that you're gonna want to put in other Warframes. There are a couple of outliers. that are just like just outside of the top 10. Like maybe Ember with her Fire Blast. Maybe Atlas, just because you can kinda sorta get a skill that can give like increased resource gain for all Warframes. But it's kind of bad. So maybe not. But yeah. Yeah, these are the ones. So, Heart of Deimos comes out August 25th. And when it comes out, you're going to be able to feed 1 Warframe per day into that thing. And you're going to want to have an assembly line of Warframes ready to go to just shunt into that thing one at a time and start subsuming abilities. And now you know which 10 Warframes to go for first. So, you know, go at it. Go at it. Just start grinding.